Well, good afternoon, everyone. For those of you that I haven't had the chance to meet yet, I'll introduce myself. I'm Ann Hansen. I'm Vice President of the Institutional Advancement Group here at SUNY Plattsburgh and also Executive Director for the College Foundation. I want to thank everyone who's attending this session today. I think that you're going to find this a very informative and inspiring time. We have some really great speakers lined up for this program today. There's just a few housekeeping items that I need to cover. As we begin this program, you will have already noticed that President Yeti is on the screen, along with members of our Legacy Giving Committee. And John Connors will be introducing them all, as well as our featured speakers from Clute Wealth Management. At the conclusion of the program, we will open it up for the cameras and audio to be on for all attendees so that you'll all be visible at that point and we can have a little more informal discussion and socializing at the end. Last two pieces of information. I do want to share that this session is being recorded. We do want to share this session with people that are unable to attend but want to learn more. And secondly, I'd also like to just remind everybody that this presentation is for informational purposes. LPL Financial and Clute Wealth Management does not provide tax and legal advice, and individuals should always consult with their personal tax and legal advisors regarding their specific circumstances. That's another way of saying that your specific strategy should be custom tailored for you. So with that all said, it's my pleasure at this point to introduce SUNY Plattsburgh's president, Dr. Alex Yeti.
Thank you, Ann, and good afternoon, everyone. And I'm hopeful that I am audible, so I think that's a good sign. See Ann shaking her head. So first of all, again, it's wonderful to see you all this afternoon. I know that there's some that I've not had a chance to meet yet, but I want to just extend my welcome to all of you for joining this Legacy Giving session. And I know that many of you are already members of the college's Heritage Society, and I just want to say a personal thank you for naming the college as your beneficiary within your estate planning. Your gift certainly is a wonderful expression of your commitment to our college. And we appreciate the way in which your philanthropy certainly will benefit future generations of students here at SUNY Plattsburgh. So again, thank you. I know many of you have joined today's session because you wish to learn more about legacy giving. I join you in that group as well, and I'm very grateful for your interest. I know that you know this, but I need to say this as much as I can. Public higher education serves an incredible and critical role in our society. And SUNY Plattsburgh provides an excellent educational experience at a very reasonable tuition. And as many of you know this, across the SUNY, we offer one of the lowest tuition rates in the nation. But we also provide access to higher education and opportunity for upward social mobility, particularly for our underrepresented students and students who are first generation in their family to attend college. And I would say there is no better investment than a charitable investment in education. It's one way in which we all pay it forward. It impacts our students while they are enrolled, but also for the rest of their lives. And it truly is a gift that keeps giving. I want to say thank you for tuning in today. We're going to hear from 4 people who are incredibly passionate about Plattsburgh and giving back to their alma mater. I think you will find our time together today both informative and inspirational. And as Ann Hansen has already promised, we'll have a chance to socialize at the end of today's session. But right now, I would like to introduce to you John Connors, First Vice President of the Plattsburgh College Foundation and Chair of the Foundation's Legacy Giving Committee. John, I pass the mic to you.
Thank you, Dr. Yeti. And Alex, from a personal note, I always enjoy everything you say, the insight you've given us on how the college has managed itself through the pandemic, reached out to students, to integrate with the community. It's just been so fulfilling for me to hear and inspirational to know that the quality of the Plattsburgh education continues now in the same way it has when all of us attended the school. And I certainly believe in the power of a Plattsburgh education, both in terms of producing a well-rounded individual and helping people focus on their careers. And with that in mind, I've been very excited about working with the College Foundation, how to assist the school and students more effectively, both today and in the future. I'm a managing director at the Geico Company, a subsidiary of Goldman Sachs, and I've had the opportunity to work with high net worth executives and as well as various companies on tax strategies and financial type of management issues. And in my work in helping people grow, we always look to see how they would want to pass assets to their heirs, and also consider philanthropic type options that might meet their objectives, as well as obviously help manage their estates. And my wife Diana and I have taken the same approach with Plattsburgh. We see that the impact of everything we do, how satisfying it is and how fulfilling it is towards our objectives, the fact that you have opportunities like being part of the Heritage Society, as well as participate in other initiatives, is very rewarding for us. And a lot of it all comes down to, the basic principle is, how do you develop your own personal plan that will fit your individual objectives, provide financial security for you, your spouse, your family, for your lifetimes, a very important consideration, yet allow you to make contributions to the foundation's initiatives or other charities in a way that will still satisfy your goals and yet not won't undermine your financial objectives. And this is where we looked into the idea of forming a legacy giving committee within the foundation, because the whole purpose of that is to help people develop plans that would work for them and yet allow them to give back, if they so choose to do so, to Plattsburgh or to other organizations. And it's all about, working it within your own means. There's nothing that says you have to do or overreach, but we've had a lot of people step up to the various initiatives we've offered over the past year, and there's been some really innovative ways to do that, which Heidi and Christina will give us more insight on in their discussion. So let me introduce for a minute the legacy gift members of the committee. We've got Hank Kazaza, Tom Hermes, Dr. Jim Johnson, Bill Landry, Gordon Muir, Pam Perrone, Nancy Schultz, who will be talking to you later in this presentation, Dr. Neville Strump, and they'll be our staff. In addition to Ann, we have Faith Leach, Natalie Peck, and Paul LeDuc, who have helped us put together this webinar and have been very effective in reaching out to everyone and creating a broader reach to all Plattsburgh alumni. And that's been really our goal, is how do we create that broader reach to everyone, so everyone can feel that they can participate in their own way and not disrupt their own plans. Every member of our giving committee are members of the Heritage Society, and we're willing to support anyone on this call any point along the way, even if it's just to kind of think out loud as to what would you like to do, or how you viewed your Plattsburgh experience, or do you want to even talk more with Dr. Ignetti and give him some gentle counsel on how things work for you as a student, and what your education meant to you. I'm also pleased to see a number of people that either I've gone to school with back in the 70s, as well as who have been regular participants in a lot of our giving programs. So I thank you very much for joining this presentation today, and we're really excited to be able to do this as one of possibly many along the way. So let me turn this over now to Heidi and Christina. The giving information they will share is a basic introduction to legacy giving. It's intended to increase your awareness of the many gift options that are available. Many provide benefits to the donor, yourselves, and to the college, and we refer to them mutually as beneficial, mutually beneficial, or as a win-win to all of us. So Heidi and Christina, thank you for participating.
You're muted, Heidi.
I'm so sorry. I thought I was unmuted. Thank you, Anne, for inviting us. Thank you, John, for the introduction. Christine and I are passionate about discussing legacy giving. We'd like to welcome everybody, President Yadi, John, the Leadership Committee, fellow Heritage Society members, faculty, and most welcome guests. We're truly honored to spend this time with you. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. I would like to start with why we give, how we give, and what we do. We give to Plattsburgh both personally and professionally. How we give, different options and benefits in giving, and what we do. Our company, Clue Wealth Management, is a full-service financial planning firm. We specialize in financial planning strategies for women in transition and their loved ones. We help people align their money with their goals, from helping with estate planning, investment planning, retirement readiness, business, college funding, and establishing plan giving strategies. Our company, Clue Wealth Management, has been in business since 1984. Why do we give to Plattsburgh State? I'd like to share my story, my why. I was on my own as a teenager, very young age. As a result, I worked many jobs in high school, and as a result, my grades suffered. Had it not been for the generosity of philanthropists that not only gave me scholarships, as well as educational opportunity program, which was geared for educationally and economically disadvantaged, I never would have had the opportunity to attend Plattsburgh. When I think about it, what a game-changing event and life-altering opportunity it has created for me. Some individuals were very thoughtful to plan ahead. I can't imagine how different my life would be without this education. After I graduated from Plattsburgh, I entered the financial service industry back in 1980. I went on to the College for Financial Planning to get my certification as a financial planner. In 1984, I established Clue Wealth Management, a financial planning, full-service financial planning firm in Plattsburgh with a second branch in South Burlington, Vermont. I've had the privilege and honor to hire 3 talented individuals that are graduates from Plattsburgh State. One, 20 years ago, Christina Ubel, who's my partner and co-owner of Clue Wealth Management, as well as an international student, Akimi Chen, who's from Japan. She's been with the firm for 21 years. And Lucas, who is a local student who we hired 4 years ago. Thank you, Plattsburgh. Education is fabulous. These people are wonderful. How? How do we support the college? We enjoy supporting the college not only by hiring graduates, we provide internships as well as job shadowing opportunities for the students. I also decided to establish a perpetual scholarship fund through Plattsburgh. I contribute to that every year, and I've also made Plattsburgh part of my legacy plan. It gives me joy, truly joy, to create a legacy for others because I know how much it mattered, and I really want to make a difference. We know one of the most powerful gifts is an educational opportunity. Christina?
Thanks, Heidi. Like Heidi, I graduated and attended SUNY Plattsburgh as an EOP student. And I feel like the opportunity that was provided to me kind of brings along what President Inyati said, is it instilled a need to pay it forward. And so hopefully opportunities will be provided to those later on. And I think that our values get tied to our everyday lives and wanting to give back. And whether that's in the form of time or money or a combination of both, I think it's important to recognize that it just becomes a part of who we are. My strongest values are tied to wanting to help women and young adults. Women, because my mother was a single mom raising my sister and I, and she struggled. She still struggles today. She worked multiple jobs, spent most of her time traveling to and from those jobs. She missed out on so much. And I hope to help others avoid that same situation that she went through and is still going through. The fact that we specialize in providing financial strategies for women in transition is unquestionably tied to my values. And I also want to help young adults because I remember my personal struggles through those same years, and I was trying to navigate it without much guidance. And so I didn't understand then the impact of any of the financial decisions that I was making that they would have on my future. So because of that, I've been back to SUNY Plattsburgh many times since graduating in 1999 in order to talk to the students about financial choices, career paths, opportunities, and mentoring. And mentoring has, like Heidi said, just been a big part of who we are as a firm, which is what led us to having those internship opportunities for the SUNY Plattsburgh students. So while we're here today to really concentrate on the financial aspects of giving, I think it's important for us to acknowledge that the giving of time is equally beneficial to both the students and the college in general.
I would agree with that. I think a gift of time for those who don't have money or for those who want to give something is critical because students are struggling. Most students don't know what they want to do. Philanthropy or charitable giving has always been part of our process. It's always been part of our conversations with our clients. In fact, over the past year, a number of our clients have expressed an increased interest to learn more about giving, different options, optimal timing, or planning their legacy, and they want to know. It's not unique to just our clients. In fact, the Community Foundation Awareness Initiative, they interviewed 32 community foundations, and they found that during this pandemic, the charitable giving from 2019 to 2020 has increased 80% during this pandemic. People know people are in trouble. When people are transitioning out of work, they go back to school. What better gift than a gift of help towards an education? Everybody's why is distinctive. We listen and explore their wishes. We hear many of the same questions, but a reoccurring constant theme of question is, when should we give? I kind of like to narrow down to three basic options. You can give now, you can give over time, you can give after you die and leave a legacy. Christina and I help our clients with legacy planning. We'd like to go over some of these strategies at a high level. You might find helpful so you know you can delve in and get more information later. Let's talk about giving now. I like giving now. Now that we're talking giving to qualified charities or nonprofits. You can give cash, you can give investments, you can give other assets. I like to give investments that have appreciated. The market's been done well, and people who hold assets for a long period of time, if there's significant depreciation, if you sell that stock and give cash, then you get a tax bomb. If you transfer the stock in kind or mutual fund, there's no income taxes on the gain. You also might be able to get a tax deduction, provided you itemize. The entity, the charity, Plattsburgh State, will not have to pay any income tax on the gain they received. They get the money tax-free. It costs less to give more. This is when less is more. You could also give over time.
Yes, you can give overtime. And I think that during trying to decide between whether to give now or give over time in either annual or periodic contributions is really dependent on how your cash flow is. And so you get to have that ultimate decision. Now, one of the easiest ways to give over time is to use what's a pretty new strategy out there. It's called a qualified charitable distribution, QCD. And how it works is you have to be over the age of 70 and a half. So for those of us, or those that are in the room that are, then you can have your IRA send a check directly to the 501c3 organization. Now, if you have them send it directly to them, then you minimize taxes because that distribution or donation in that instance is not included in your taxable income. Now, keep in mind that the check has to go directly to the charity. If it goes to you first and then you write a check, then you've lost out on the tax benefits of having that income not included. So that's an easy way to give overtime. There are some more complex ways to give overtime utilizing what's called donor advisor funds or DAFs and charitable trusts. And SUNY Plattsburgh's even had the opportunity to be a part of a few of those charitable trusts. But in the interest of time, I think it's probably best if we save those conversations for maybe the Q&A or even another one of these events if there's enough interest for them at a later date.
You can do the qualified distributions if you're 70 and a half, but you also can make legacy gifts. Some common gifting options are bequests through a will, through your trust, or through a beneficiary designation. You have choices. It's all about choices. You can name this nonprofit as a beneficiary of your retirement plans. It doesn't matter if it's an IRA, Roth, 401k, tax sheltered annuity, retirement plan. If it's a retirement plan or other type of retirement plan, it's quite simple. You just fill out a beneficiary form. If you'd want to give assets from a bank account, whether it be CDs, savings, you just have to file a TOD or a POD. TOD stands for transfer on death. POD stands for payable on death. A fancy name for beneficiary designation. You can call your financial institution, have them send you a beneficiary form, complete it, send it in, and that's it. If it's a brokerage account, you also can put in a beneficiary designation. When it comes to life insurance and annuities, it's also pretty seamless. Call your insurance company, have them send you that beneficiary form, update it, sign it, send it in, and you're good to go. By the way, you don't have to give it all to one charity or one individual. You can split your gifts. And people who have been accumulating wealth for a lot of years might not want to give all of their retirement plan to a charity. They may want to give it to other people, other family members. So the fact you can have multiple beneficiaries makes it seamless, easy to change, and it does not require an update of your will. First, what you have to do as a starting point, determine if a planned giving strategy will work for you. You can make these gifts during your life or at death as part of your overall financial or estate plan. You can make gifts of your assets rather than current cash flow. That may be more desirable, especially if you're younger and you're early in the mix and you really depend on that income to live on. Most commonly, a future gift does not, that people give future gifts because it doesn't affect their current financial strategy. People give because they're inspired, they're motivated for a desire to make an enduring impact. And it's usually a cause that they're passionate about.
Obviously, knowing the why behind something is important for us in anything that we do, including charitable giving, which is why we're here today talking about it. And it could be something that impacted our lives, like Heidi or John Connors or myself. It could be that we just want to leave some kind of legacy. Or it could be something simple, like we want to take advantage of the economic benefits that something like this allows. And the economic benefits, there's quite a few. I think we've gone over a couple. The tax savings, we can possibly reduce risk, and by diversifying our assets, we can unlock income from underperforming assets. There's even the option of possibly being able to transfer our wealth at reduced rates. But I think that the important thing to remember is that whatever our why is, or your why is, that we want to talk to our families about it. We want them to understand it, and they may even want to get involved with it now. But the most important thing is let them understand it so that they can try to honor that legacy for you when you no longer can.
Thank you very much, Heidi and Christina. That was a great overview, kind of a high-level view of many different options and avenues that people can consider pursuing. At this point in the program, we're going to shift into our question and answer period of time. So we have received quite a few questions in advance. When people registered, they sent in questions. We'll go through some of them, and if any of the attendees would like to use the Q&A box to add a question in, please do so. One of the first things that came in that seems like a good place to start is the idea of how often should an individual review their financial plan? Are there specific times when a person should consult with their financial advisor or any of their advisors regarding legacy gift planning or estate planning?
We could tag team this one. I think there's no hard rule. I think annually makes a lot of sense, because if you put it on like a health checkup, do a financial health checkup, verify what's changed in your life, whether you're participating in a new plan, anytime there's a major transitional event. Christina?
Yeah, we kind of compare it internally to getting your annual exam, right? So you do your health checkup. So we have what's called a financial health checkup. And it's just a quick check of things to make sure that everything's going okay. But you also want to do it when you hit a major life transition as well. You know, the birth of a child, a divorce or death, those are the sad ones. But a birth of a grandchild, right? You know, somebody graduating. So just when you're going through certain things in your life, it's probably a good time to check in and make sure that everything's still on the right path.
That's great. And there's also the idea of, I think at times, often people retire to a different state, or they need to then take a look at how the picture might change in that regard from a tax perspective.
Definitely retirement, right?
Yeah. Another question we received is you know, is it hard to change a legacy gift plan? I think many people do have the impression that once a legacy gift plan is made, it's locked in forevermore. So if you could maybe share some insight on that, that would be helpful.
So if it is, Heidi referred to being able to complete a beneficiary designation form earlier. If it's something like that, it's very simple. You just go and complete a new one, and it'll remove the old direction and replace it with the new direction. It's a little bit more time consuming to change a trust or something more complex. but it really is just a meeting with the attorney, having something redrafted. It is not a difficult process. It's just some time and money involved.
I like to take shortcuts because I don't like to keep getting my trust drafted. The shortcut I'll take is I have my main beneficiaries in my will and my trust. And then if other people or other opportunities pop up that I want to give to, I merely leave that alone and then redirect the money from perhaps my retirement plan, which is an optimal asset for me to give because I won't have to pay taxes on it and they get it tax-free. I'll merely just update the beneficiary, painless, simple, quick. If it's major, I have to update my trust. And that's okay. If it's major,
Yeah.
you're going to want to do that anyway.
But the important thing I think for people to realize there is that it is possible to change your plans, and nobody expects somebody to make a decision 30 years prior and still, you know, that you have that same idea 30 years later. Things do change.
Right.
And how do you at the college deal with when somebody wants to make a change?
Yeah, so I think, you know, in our situation, we do offer the opportunity for someone to do a charitable gift annuity, which is an example of a legacy gift that is irrevocable. So that's one that's locked in part because the foundation is also making a commitment to pay that individual an annuity for life. And there's a tax benefit to the donor when that charitable gift annuity is established. But in regards to flexibility down the road, much of what Heidi just described, we've had many people ask the question, you know, how specific should I be in regards to my legacy gift? And along the lines of what Heidi just said, if an individual has the Plattsburgh College Foundation named as a beneficiary through their will, and it's a general beneficiary, we're just stated as a beneficiary, then the donor can give us very specific instructions later through an endowment agreement, which is legally binding, or a pledge document that would then give us specific direction as to how that gift was to be used. And that's something that they can update and change over time. So it's a way of maintaining that flexibility and control, really, for the donor.
That's an important piece, primarily because if you set up a designated foundation, or I should say, excuse me, designated funds, you would want to make certain that money maybe would be directed to that. And some people may have several different designations, and they'd be remiss to not include directions of where that asset should go. Exactly.
And also things may change over time. They may create a second endowment, or there may be a new program that's established at the college that they really want to support. So having the general beneficiary named in the will or through a change of beneficiary form, and then very specific instructions through a pledge document or a gift agreement is a wonderful way to go, and for the donor to maintain that control. Another question that came in was in regards to, you know, that at one point the discussion about the advantage of naming the foundation as the beneficiary of an IRA or a bank or brokerage account, and is that approach better than just doing a general bequest through the will? Like, what are the advantages of choosing to go the IRA or brokerage account route?
It's easy. It is really easy if you name a direct beneficiary, either a person or an organization, as a direct beneficiary versus putting it into your will. If you do that, the funds are available immediately upon the passing of somebody. Really, all you need to do is provide the death certificate, and that process bypasses probate, which saves a lot of time and money It is such an easy process to do. And again, it can be changed at any time. So if you decide to do something now, you're not locking yourself in, but the ease of that, and it's well worth that.
I think people are reevaluating also because of the change that heirs have to withdraw the money from the IRAs over 10 years. So if people have done a really good job wealth accumulation, they're sitting on, let's make up numbers, $1 million in their IRA. 10 years, that money is going to create tax bombs. It's really a very effective way to reduce taxes for you, for your heirs, and to create a gift that is worth 100% of its value because there's no taxation for the foundation to receive these monies.
Yeah, Heidi makes a good point there. There were recent tax laws where if you are leaving retirement assets to somebody other than your spouse and they're over the age of 18, then they have to be used up within that 10-year period. And that's really making donations to charities much more attractive.
That makes a lot of sense. We did just get another question in through the chat. And the question is in regards to, is the standard practice to set like a specific dollar amount in a, I guess we're talking about a bequest, or it could be a IRA, setting a standard dollar amount or a percentage that would, you know, of the remainder that would go to the charity. So standard dollar amount or percentage.
I think if you leave a standard dollar amount, you could get into trouble, because if you're spending down and you start with a very high amount and you're down to a lower amount, then there might not be that dollar amount. A percentage would automatically adjust, so you don't have to worry about what the account's worth unless you want to give more, then you just ratchet up that percentage. So I say percentages.
Every time I mean, not that we're giving legal advice, but for ourselves, it makes sense to do percentages.
That's great. Another question that came in was, is there a way for a legacy gift arrangement to provide income to someone else other than me, and possibly even other than someone within my immediate family? Or is there a way to help others as well as make the charitable legacy gift?
Charitable annuity is an excellent tool. You can make stock gifts. Let's say your charity that you're choosing is SUNY. They'd set up a charitable gift annuity agreement. You, and if you're married, and your spouse can receive income quarterly, semi-annual for the rest of your life. The amount is set, it's guaranteed. If you have a child, you can also set up a deferred arrangement until they're over the age 60. So you can include multiple family members. In addition to the income stream, annuitants can also be eligible to take a tax deduction on the portion that will ultimately go to charity. At the time they make that original gift, it's going to be based on the amount that will eventually go to the charity after the payments are made. The amount you receive is fixed, it won't fluctuate. It also won't adjust for inflation. But if you're donating appreciated stock or any kind of other property, it's possible to reduce or even eliminate capital gains tax that you'd normally pay if you sold the asset first and donated the proceeds. Part of your annuity income is taxable at the federal level. I mean, it really depends on what state you live in, whether you'd have to pay state tax, but it all depends on your situation, state of residency, and I would advise you to consult a tax advisor regarding taxation.
I'd say hence the topic of complex, right?
Yes, always good to get that advice.
Yeah. Then that's when you bring in your financial advisor, your tax advisor, and your legal advisor, and they kind of all just work together to get that plan in place for you, because it is difficult and you want to make sure that it's the right move.
I think because a lot of people are not aware of that tool, they're potentially missing an opportunity to unlock value of other assets that they don't want to sell the stock because they've had it for a gazillion years and it's appreciated a lot. It's a very unique opportunity to put that into an annuity and get that income for life, especially when the interest rates are as low as they are today.
Absolutely.
And it's geared based on your age.
And do you have any of those currently in place?
Yes, we do. We have a number of charitable gift annuities in place, and it's a very simple thing to run just an illustration for individuals that want to learn more, so they can kind of take a look at what the annuity might be and what the potential tax benefit might be, and then they can take that to their advisor and go the next step. But it really is I love the term unlock an asset that someone's sitting on, but it can't gain any income from because it's so appreciated in value.
Right, that you become frozen and scared to actually, well, not scared, but you don't want to.
Some people are scared because it's a tax bomb.
Tax bomb, exactly. That's the term, tax bomb. And so it really becomes an opportunity for both the donee and the donor to use that and leverage it to the best that you can.
That's a perfect example of a win-win-win situation. Yeah.
The other important piece to that is the foundation with the annuity, they guarantee that income, and it doesn't matter how much the value of the asset you transferred, no matter how long you live, the assets of the foundation will pay that income to you for the rest of your life. So you're guaranteed not to outlive that income stream. And many people who don't have perhaps a retirement plan, it's a nice way to create a win-win, a retirement plan, tax reduction strategies, and a legacy gift for multiple people, income for yourself, income for your family. And what's better, in my opinion, than having an opportunity to give to your favorite charity?
Right, you get to feel good at the same time. But and what Heidi was referring to, we run into fewer and fewer people that actually have access to a pension, we'll call it pension, in retirement, and guaranteed income sources are critical. That's a great thing for everybody.
By playing around with some estimates, you can get a gauge of how much assets you'd have to transfer to get that maybe semi-annual or quarterly income stream you're looking for to cover some of your baseline expenses.
Well, that's a perfect example of what John Connors was talking about earlier in regards to mutually beneficial arrangements that do great things for students at SUNY Plattsburgh in the future. I think we're going to change gears now. There are more questions that we'll have to get to next time we do this. There's so many avenues we can explore, things like gifts of real estate and other types of property. We'll save that for another day, and we'll try to follow up with all of the attendees that asked a question that we haven't been able to get to. I want to thank Heidi and Christina very much for sharing your passion for SUNY Plattsburgh, as well as your expertise in this area. Really appreciate your participation today so much. And we are going to switch gears to hear from Nancy Schultz, who's a member of the class of 71 and a member of the Legacy Giving Committee. And she's going to share a few words as we wrap this program up today. Nancy?
Good afternoon. We all have a story, and I appreciate this opportunity to tell ours. My husband, Jack Schultz, and I both graduated in 1971. And so we're celebrating our 50th anniversary of our graduation this year, and we're very excited about that. When we left Plattsburgh, and we thought Plattsburgh was a transformative experience for us. But when we left Plattsburgh, we went out in the real world. Jack, for a time, worked as a teacher, and I had the opportunity to work for a corporation. And we did that for about 15 years. And then we kind of got to the point in our life where we said, you know, we only have this one precious life, and are we doing what we want? And so we decided to make a change. And over a period of a few years, both of us quit our jobs and became self-employed. A very daring step. And of course, when you make that decision, you have a couple of very big burdens on your mind. And one is we're going to have to pay for our own health insurance. And the other one is we're going to have to save for our own retirement and take care of ourselves. Of course, there's always a challenge when you're saving for your retirement because you really don't know how much you need to retire. It's a different situation than when you're out working. And so we just decided we have to save what we can on a regular basis, make that regular part of our financial activity, and hope for the best. And so eventually, of course, we retired, and we found out how much money we needed to live on being retired, the way we wanted to be retired. And we realized that we actually didn't need as much money to retire with as we had saved. And that was a good problem to have. So we decided that it was really a good time to update our estate documents. And first we had to figure out what is it we really want to do as we update it? What are we trying to accomplish? And it was very clear to us that first thing was family. And let's admit that for almost all of us on this call, that's going to be our first decision on where we want our estate to go. And so we decided that we wanted 60% of our assets to go to our family, and we wanted 40% of our assets to go to philanthropy. So then you are able to say to yourself, okay, what philanthropy are we passionate about? And from 50 years together, it was just very clear that education is our passion, because we think our time at Plattsburgh absolutely changed our life, transitioned us into the people we are today. And we feel that Plattsburgh was an excellent choice for us because we came from a small town. And so to go to a college like Plattsburgh that isn't too big and is a little remote, but still exposed you to ideas and people that you never knew before was the perfect fit for us. So we decided that Plattsburgh was certainly going to be one of our beneficiaries. Now, as a sidebar, I'd like to share that when I was in my 40s, I went back to school and got an executive MBA. And this time I went to a private university, a recognized name, at least regionally, and had a wonderful experience there. They had an excellent program, and I benefited from it so much, and it helped me in my consulting practice. But the truth of the matter is, Jack and I chose not to give that private university any of our assets when we passed on. Because as we thought it through deeply, we realized that that particular school was focused heavily on the university itself. So it was its prestige, its rankings, its research, and oh yes, also the students. Where at Plattsburgh, it's all about the students. Everything is about the students. Anyone you talk to at Plattsburgh wants to explain to you what we're doing to make our students' lives better. So we knew Plattsburgh was the place for us, and virtually all of our 40% is going to Plattsburgh in some way, shape, or form. So we contacted our lawyer to update our estate documents, and he said to us, "Have you talked to Plattsburgh?" And we said, "Gee, no, actually, we haven't talked to Plattsburgh." And he said, "I think you should explain what you're trying to accomplish. They can help us get the language in our documents that's appropriate for your wishes, as well as we created documents on the Plattsburgh side as well." And so that required us to get in touch with Ann. And we set a phone conversation with Ann, and we explained exactly what kind of students we wanted to support and why we wanted to do that, and gave her an idea of the amount of assets that we were talking about. And Anne said that she felt it would be most appropriate for us to have, or she suggested to us that our needs might best be met with an endowed scholarship, an endowed scholarship that would last in perpetuity, that would last forever. And I have to tell you that Jack and I felt that we were hit with a bolt of lightning, because we never thought we were that kind of people that could do that. We thought we were people that worked hard, tried to take care of the people around us with care, and were rewarded with a wonderful retirement. But we never thought that we were people that would make a difference for generations to come. And it totally changed the way we looked at the world. When we got on that call with Ann, we thought that we were making a gift to Plattsburgh. And we didn't know that we were making a gift to ourselves, or that Plattsburgh was making a gift to ourselves. So I just want to end with one of our favorite quotes in light of this insight we've had into ourselves. And the quote is, "We are planting trees knowing that we will never sit in their shade." Ann?
Oh my, Nancy. You got me choked up. That is just very beautiful. And it makes my heart pound when I think about trees that we won't sit in the shade of, that will grow and grow and grow and continue to benefit others. That's really what this is all about. So thank you for sharing that from the heart. Really appreciate it.